That's Gist Nigeria coming up on the program.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. Nay! The nays have it.
Strengthening Nigeria's democracy. We look at how the Amended Electoral Act will address voter apathy and impact future elections. Uniquely born, mother of boys living with rare genetic disorder creates support platform for others in our shoes. And diplomatic face-off. Kenyan farmers turn to sunflower to supplement incomes. Plus,
my name is Olakunle Aroko. Check me out.
The musicologist promoting love for African music in the United Arab Emirates. Welcome to Gist Nigeria from the BBC and Channels Television, where we bring you stories making the rounds on social media. I'm Ajoke Hulotse. Our top story this week. Since Nigeria returned to democratic governance in 1999, there have always been calls to improve its electoral process. Electoral malpractices, including the hijacking of ballot boxes and violence, are usually reported during every election cycle. Earlier this month, the National Assembly passed an amendment to the Electoral Act with a view to addressing these issues and strengthening the process. But what are the key provisions of this amendment? Would they address the problems earlier identified? And would they endear more young people to participate in the process? Gist Nigeria's Wale Fakile answers these questions in this report.
What exactly is in this clause, and why is the Electoral Act such a key component in reducing apathy among young Nigerians? Let's find out. The bulk of the laws guiding INEC's operations are in the Electoral Act. The National Assembly, from time to time, amends the Constitution and the Electoral Act to improve the performance of INEC in conducting elections. But do young Nigerians know just how powerful the Electoral Act is?
Not really.
I'm fully aware of it.
I don't know much about it.
Sure, I actually heard of it.
Well, INEC conducted the 2019 and the two preceding general elections using the 2010 Electoral Act. Following repeated failed attempts to amend this act, the current National Assembly inaugurated a joint committee on electoral reform in 2019. Fast forward to mid-July this year, the Senate and the House of Reps passed the amendments recommended by that committee, but not without a lot of controversy. Section 52, subsection 3 of the originally proposed amendment provides that the Commission may transmit results of elections by electronic means where and when applicable. But after a brief bout of disagreement, senators rephrased that clause to say, The Commission may consider the electronic transmission of results provided the national network coverage is adjudged to be adequate and secure by the National Communication Commission and approved by the National Assembly.
It makes absolutely no sense. If at all, it would have been that this would have served as a secondary check.
From the word Independent National Electoral Commission, it presupposes that INEC is independent. So having other governmental body to regulate them is actually a nullity.
There's a lot of mistrust in the system, and this is not just particular, it does not foreclose even to the younger part of the country. It's something that is general.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Against say nay. Nay!
The same drama over the electronic transmission of results played out at the House of Representatives before the bill was passed. The lawmakers say transmitting results electronically would disenfranchise Nigerians in areas with low internet penetration and that the process was susceptible to hacking.
There are technologies that you can deploy that are just the small devices that you can just put on the back of a van, right? That can be deployed within 2 hours, 3 hours. You are up when you are running and you are connecting to a central server. So that can be deployed in any part of Nigeria. So where you don't have GSM coverage, you can adopt the satellite technology. They are available in the country today as we speak. And they are not expensive. It's not rocket science. So that is the first thing we must take care of. The second thing we need to look at is the fear of the National Assembly talking about hacking. Yes, every information you put out there is susceptible to hacking. But the owner of the information must take necessary precaution to provide security for their data.
Senate spokesperson Surajuddin Ajibola has, however, said the Senate did not reject electronic transmission of results and was only concerned about the wording of Section 52, subsection 3. Meanwhile, Speaker of the House of Reps, Femi Gbajabiamila, recently expressed disappointment after the card reader at his polling unit failed during the Lagos local government elections. He said the incident was a sign that Nigeria is not ready for electronic transmission of results.
It's one thing to theorize and say we want electronic transmission, which is what I want, which is what many of my colleagues want. But it's another thing to actually see it in operation.
In a country where you have more than 50 million users of internet, and practically all these people carry smartphones around, then it becomes important that we find a way to get them to use these smartphones that they carry around to vote.
Another area of concern in the current bill is the significant increases in the limits of election spending in Section 88, subsection 1. Campaign expenses for the presidential election was increased from 1 billion to 15 billion. Governorship election was pushed up from 200 million to 5 billion. Senate poll from 40 million to 1.5 billion. And House of Reps from 30 million to 500 million, among others. Would this have any impact on the ability of young people to participate in elections? And what does this connote for the Not Too Young to Run bill passed into law in 2019?
Sadly, it's already a rigged election. That's what this implies. Because, of course, how many young people will be able to afford that in the first place?
So we want to de-emphasize the role of money in politics, but all of a sudden we have a 15-fold increase.
More than half of Nigeria's 198 million population are young people under the age of 30. So, the future and prosperity of the country rests solely on the shoulders of Nigerians in this bracket. But with electoral reforms and laws that many millennials and Gen Zs see as retrogressive, how then can they be made to join the process of making the country great?
If we don't participate, the country and the world at large will get worse by the day.
Definitely security and assurance that our votes will count.
Except and until the electoral system in Nigeria gives a social inclusion, particularly with respect to economy, to the Nigerian youth. The youth will not have a place in active and gladiatorial political participation in Nigeria.
We've gotten to a point today where if we want to make it easy for people to vote and we want their vote to count, then we need to open up the space and use technology that is available today.
The National Assembly has now gone on a recess, and it's yet to be seen if President Muhammadu Buhari will assent the Amended Electoral Act. But the task of translating the zest and zeal showed by young people online to physical participation in nation building is a collective one. Experts say that journey starts when judicial instruments like the Electoral Act begin to reflect modern realities of this important voting bloc. Wali Fakile, Just Nigeria.
Hopefully, this amendment will strengthen and increase accountability in this process.